The Syzran oil refinery in Samara region was attacked by drones for the second time this year. Local residents reported explosions in the area of the facility, followed by a fire.
Again, buzzing sound. Where did that explosion come from? It's really close to us.
The Syzran refinery is located more than 1,000 kilometers from the Ukrainian border. It was first targeted by drones in March 2024. In February 2025, the refinery had to halt operations after another drone attack, as reported by Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Center for Countering Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine.
The refinery processes 8.9 million tons of oil annually, making it one of the medium-sized refineries in Russia. It produces fuel, aviation kerosene, and bitumen. In 2015, it switched entirely to producing Euro 5 standard products. It processes oil from Western Siberia and the Samara region. Refineries of this size are vital to the Russian military, playing a significant role in fuel supply and military logistics. Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Center for Countering Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, on Telegram.
On the night of March 4th, Ukrainian defense forces also targeted oil pipeline infrastructure in the Rostov region, confirmed the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Acting governor of the Rostov region, Yuri Slyusar, reported a fire on a pipeline in the Chertkovsky district. Later, he also mentioned a fire at a warehouse in the village of Sokranovka, Chertkov district. Additionally, he reported an attack on the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in the Rostov region, which is the largest supplier of petroleum products in southern Russia. This refinery has been targeted by drones before. On the night of March 3rd, drones attacked the Bashneft oil refinery in Ufa, one of the key facilities in Russia's oil sector, with an annual processing capacity of 23.5 million tons. The attack resulted in a large-scale fire at the facility.
Now I can smell the oil.
Drone strikes have been recorded in various regions of Russia, including Samara, Volgograd, Ryazan, and Nizhny Novgorod. This highlights not only the capability of Ukrainian drones to cover significant distances, but also the substantial damage these attacks are causing to Russia's economy.
Russia, under sectoral sanctions, is unable to carry out effective repairs on damaged refineries. This results in downtime and, most importantly, economic losses for Russia. But the key impact is the disruption of normal logistics for the occupying army.
Strikes on Russian refineries are part of Ukraine's broader strategy to weaken Russia's military capabilities. This tactic has proven effective. Russia's oil refining volumes have dropped to a 12-year low, and the export of petroleum products has fallen by 9%. Over the past year, according to Reuters, Russian refineries have lost 13% of their capacity due to shutdowns caused by drone attacks and difficulties with repairs due to restrictions on technology supplies to Russia.
The strategic assets of the Russian Federation have been hit hard. This includes recent strikes on refineries in the Krasnodar region.
Attacks on Russian refineries also expose Russia's inability to protect its strategic facilities. This is a significant blow to Moscow's image, especially during its active communications with Washington. Reported by Natalia Husak, Volodymyr Shtenhelov, UATV News.
Not to praise Trump personally, Russian propagandists have received new instructions from the Kremlin on how to talk about U.S. President Donald Trump. The reason for this shift is the ongoing negotiations between the U.S. and Russia. Unlike previous American presidents, radical criticism of Trump is now off limits. According to the Verst media, citing sources close to the Putin administration, propagandists have not received strict directives to present the supposed warming of U.S.-Russia relations in a particular way. However, they have been ordered to maintain a so-called balance in their reporting, as the negotiations could ultimately stall.
An employee of a major state media outlet described the new content policy as follows: "We don't make promises about the end of the special military operation. We don't give any deadlines. The main thing is that they have made contact, and we are ready to listen." An insider working for the state TV channel said that there are no instructions to force anything. It is only necessary to balance Trump with statements from the Russian side. From the Verstka article.
Every authoritarian regime needs an external enemy. For Russia, this enemy has always been the West, and now specifically Europe. During a recent meeting between U.S. President and French President Emmanuel Macron discussed the possibility of NATO spending troops to Ukraine. In response, Russian propaganda outlets launched a wave of insults directed at Macron. However, experts believe that the Kremlin's temporary thaw towards the U.S. will not last long.
They are not rushing to embrace Trump, fully understanding that today things are one way, and tomorrow they may be completely different. The general directive is to leave Americans alone for now, focus on the British, the French, the Germans, but don't touch the Americans. During Trump's first presidency, Margarita Simonian once declared she would drive around Moscow waving an American flag in celebration. However, even back then, Trump's presidency did not turn out well for Russian propagandists.
After Macron and Trump's negotiations, Putin immediately gave an interview to Russian media. The Russian dictator claimed that Russia supposedly has more resources than Ukraine. Russia decided to become a raw materials supplier to the United States after propagandists mocked the negotiation process between the United States and Ukraine on rare earth metals. In this agreement, Putin seems to have seen prospects for major deals with the US.
People are confused. The blatant sale of rare earth metals and the possibility of handing them over to the U.S., it's too much. Some pro-Kremlin bloggers support it, others don't. Many still don't grasp what's happening. But the overall reaction is delayed because, historically, no American president has ever truly benefited Russia.
Russian propaganda is now contradicting itself and falling apart. The objectives of the so-called special military operation are increasingly unclear, putting pro-war mobilization efforts at risk. Since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine and the imposition of Western sanctions, Russian media has insisted that domestic production could replace Western goods. Sanctions have included bans on Russian oil and petroleum imports, asset freezes for major Russian companies, financial restrictions and export bans on technology and dual-use goods. As a result, Russia now lacks airplane components, military equipment repair is idle, and losses from sanctions are at all-time high. In 2024, the budget deficit in Russia amounted to 3.5 billion rubles.
Russia's economic situation is dire. The so-called lifeline Trump is throwing may well turn into an anchor. We no longer understand the logic, why this war was fought for 3 years, why 350,000 men were mobilized and sent to the trenches, why over 1 million signed military contracts, why there are hundreds of thousands of dead, wounded, and missing, and why millions have become refugees.
According to Bloomberg, Putin's special representative for foreign economic cooperation Kirill Dmitriev is using business proposals to pressure the US into a deal favorable to the Kremlin. The goal is to lift sanctions on Russia. Dmitriev proposed that Putin sell around 2 million tons of Siberian aluminium to the US in exchange for Trump lifting import restrictions. He also suggested that Russian companies could set up joint ventures with American firms for aluminium production. Reported by Sergei Kulias, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.